Cohen. Today I want to talk about Suboxone. Uh, Buprenorphine is the generic name, but the actual marketed name Suboxone is marketed by Benckiser Group, and now the subject of a nationwide civil suit. $1.4 billion has been recovered by the Justice Department in this lawsuit, which is a class action lawsuit. And I'm going to post a link for people who have or may be still taking Suboxone and may be eligible to be recipients of some of this money. There's some $700 million available for claimants. This is an illicit nationwide scheme to increase prescriptions of Suboxone using fraudulent claims associated with its marketing to physicians and prescribers. And Suboxone, as you should know, is a combination of naltrexone, which is a drug used to block cravings in both alcohol and opiates. It's used as in Narcan as a full-time blockade. It can be used in Vivitrol as a full-time blockade as well, which is a longer-acting version of naltrexone. But Suboxone is a combination of naltrexone with an opioid. So opioids, as we know, are like heroin. They're narcotics. They're addicting, and they create dependency. Naltrexone does not create dependency, but it has another action that interferes with moving away from dependency that I've discovered and will talk about later in this video. So Suboxone became out as a real go-to drug by prescribers in opiate treatment programs for heroin addicts, as many were ODing as we started to see the prevalence of fentanyl arise. And the next thing you know, heroin addicts, not knowing they were getting fentanyl, were getting killed and dying from overdose. And to stop the scourge of overdosing, Suboxone could be given. The opiate purpose was to take away withdrawal symptoms, so they wouldn't go into withdrawal, and the naltrexone tampered down the cravings. So here is a great drug that could tamper down cravings at the same time eliminate withdrawal. The problem is it doesn't sustain at low doses. People's cravings come back and the dose has to be increased. The maker is guilty of marketing the benefits of high dosing, and unfortunately there's a lot of negatives that come with high dosing. So what happens is, as one uses Suboxone, you have to increase your dose because the opioid in it, you develop tolerance. And that tolerance requires a higher and higher dose, which pulls you into the drug's addiction. And the problem with this drug is that the people can't get off it, unlike heroin, where you can do a 5-day detox. Suboxone seems to warrant a month. 4 times that amount to titrate off slowly. The withdrawal effects are horrendous and intolerable to people trying to do this themselves. So this is a problem. Now, people who are being sustained at high doses of Suboxone undergo personality changes. The people who I've been working with, their partners have been telling me that they're not the same person. There's a flattening of affect. They can't feel emotions or express emotions their empathy goes out the window. So they become a different person, and the addiction that they were dominated by when they were heroin addicts now is the same, except they're a Suboxone addict instead. They still have the same addictive thinking, addictive patterning, the same lying and the scheming, the everything revolving around Suboxone used to revolve around heroin. Is just transferred to the drug. So what we're seeing is that buprenorphine is not a good choice of treatment for heroin addiction, especially in light of the fact that I do a treatment for heroin addiction that doesn't require any medications. So I do EMDR for heroin addicts, and in working with an implicit memory system, we can access the dependency. There's a switch within the implicit memory system that can be switched off in one single session, and therefore there's no detox or withdrawal. It stops. And this can happen in one session. Of course, to get rid of the whole addiction, we have to go and clear out the implicit memory system using EMDR or hypnotherapy, and that's doable. We see the relationship between trauma and addiction and implicit memory. The implicit memory is only activated because of misattachment or trauma. A lot of people confuse the word trauma, not understanding there's things such as neglect or more covert types of attachment trauma that don't look like abuse. They don't include incest or physical violence. They're a little more insidious, including espousing of a child. These are things that are as damaging and result with the same anxiety and depression that we see in other forms of more severe abusive relationships. And so they sneak in under the radar. It doesn't look like they've had an abusive background, but they have. And in order to trigger that implicit memory system, that's what the ingredient is. So we see this in all addicts, an activated implicit memory system. And if we don't work with that, we can't access that switch of dependency. What naltrexone has done is I find that people who have been on Vivitrol, which is just naltrexone, oral naltrexone, or Suboxone, if they're within 3 weeks of using this, EMDR and even combined with hypnotherapy for addiction doesn't work. The switch is blocked, and it's the naltrexone that I've isolated that is actually, while tampering down cravings, is actually blocking a dependency switch from being switched off. So while Suboxone is keeping people's cravings down, at least that's the intent of the naltrexone that's being prescribed, it's at the same time keeping people addicted. So that's why people can't get off Suboxone, and they can get off heroin in 5 days, and Suboxone they can't, because that naltrexone is preventing the dependency switch from being switched. We can't switch the addiction off. And this is a nasty thing, because the drug is formulated so that you have an opiate that's increasing your need for this drug, so you're using more and more, and you're going in deeper because that naltrexone is not allowing you to get off it. And so now we've really got a quagmire and a lot of suffering. And I've been working with a lot of addicts who struggle because they can't get off this stuff, and I can't help them. I can't help them with EMDR or hypnotherapy to get off of Suboxone. It doesn't work. They have to titrate off slowly or go to maybe I've seen 2 rehabs now. A month ago it was only 1 rehab that was offering Suboxone detox, and there's warnings that say this is not easy, and it's a long haul. It's a titration schedule is what they're doing. That's what they're implementing. So, so if you are the victim of being prescribed Suboxone for your treatment for addiction, or if you are have already gotten off it, you can be part of this class action lawsuit. I'm going to put a link down below, as you see that link, and it's showing you how to access a form you can fill out where you can see if you're eligible for reimbursement under this class action lawsuit. And I have done a prior video that warned that this may be the next methadone, where people are getting stuck on a medication to treat addiction, and we finally got to get it through our heads that we can't treat addiction with a pill or another addictive substance. That doesn't work. And yet, all the research, I have gone to 28 researchers in the East Coast, from Yale to NIH to Northwell, Stony Brook. All around there's research being done, 28 researchers using neuroimaging, which is what I was interested in. And I have this switch, and I've gone to them to say, let's partner up. I'm a clinician, I'm not a researcher. Let's get the research done on what I'm doing, because I'm having tremendous success with this, not using any drugs. And they're rejected my offers to partner with them in doing research on this, even though I have the switch and there's no detox needed, because they're funded by pharmacologies, where these pharmacology companies are funding them to find another pill, yet another take a pill solution to this problem where people are getting addicted to pills. This is being driven by money and profit, as opposed to the actual intention of helping people heal and get well. I think the entire addiction industry rather, is focused on or is aware that relapse is a repeating customer. And I don't do relapse prevention in my practice because nobody comes back. It's one way. I discharge people. They don't see me ongoing for the rest of their lives to treat their addiction. This is part of preparation in my treatment to treat their deeper issues, which is their traumas. So I'll leave off here and hope that we can start creating a new paradigm around treating addiction, and hopefully moving away from money and pharmacology as the focus, the primary focus. We need to focus on the person and what's going on with them, and what they feel is happening and what they're experiencing, and not pop a pill. Here's the answer. Pop a pill. Let's make more money. That's not the answer. So leave your comments below. I know this is controversial. I know I'm stirring the pot here, but I think the pot needs to be stirred, and I welcome feedback. So bring it on. Let's have a discussion. And if you like this video, like it. Then YouTube, my website link is below. And please subscribe, and these videos will keep coming.